Hello friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we are going to plant the dahlias. If you will remember, a few days ago we did a video showcasing the 36 new varieties of dahlias that we're going to be adding to the cut flower garden this year. So that is what we're going to do right now. We are going to get it done. It is nice and early in the morning. The sun is coming up. It is going to be an absolutely gorgeous day, very warm. So I have my sun shirt on, like we're talking about like upper 80s. It's crazy. Earlier this week, a week ago, we were having like freezing temperatures and in the 20s, and now we're in the upper 80s. That is the joys of living in North Carolina. You will see that Johnny is completely loaded down with all of my supplies that I need. Just to recap here, because some people were asking about this. So I originally got my dahlias, my very first dahlias, from my friend Laura in Oregon. And so she was sweet enough last year to send me a whole box of her dahlia tubers. It was late in the season when I got them in. Like, I want to say it was May. She sent them to me a little bit later because of her temperatures. I got them in the ground. It was mid to late May, I think. I'd have to go back and look. This is the appropriate time for me to get my dahlias in the ground, mid to late March, because it's nice and cool and they're going to be nice and happy. Laura's dahlias are doing great. I did not do anything to them over the winter. They stayed right where they are. They are nice and firm. I keep randomly kind of digging and finding some, and the tubers did not rot, which we were a little concerned about, just because not of our temperatures, but because of our heavy rain in the wintertime. Happy to say that I have not found any that perished during the winter. We are simply adding to the collection, because once you kind of go into dahlias, it becomes kind of a bit of a fever, because they are gorgeous and you want to add more. So these 36 are ones that I ordered last September from both Breck's and then Swan Island Dahlias. So we're going to go through and I want to show you the difference between the two companies, like how they come differently. You will see that I have tons of land and sea, because that's what I'm going to do. Is before I ever start doing anything, I'm going to go through and top dress with some land and sea. Then I have my power planter auger that I'm going to dig the holes probably about, I'm going to go for really like 12 inches apart. That's what I did last year. So I have my tape measure, because that way I can make sure that it's nice and accurate. Top dress, dig the holes, come back and do biotone all at the same time, and then I'm going to come back and plant each tuber. A little bit more like the assembly line method than trying to do each individual hole. We're just going to knock it out. The ones that I got from Breck's, I just want to show you how they came. So this is the Joey Linda dahlia. Comes in plastic bag, right? And it has peat moss in there. So it has the label, the name on the outside of the bag. We open it up and let me show you. So the peat is keeping everybody nice and dry, because we don't want them to get any kind of mildew or anything like that. So a nice big clump, here we go, and that is the one from Breck's. Then there's multiples in there. So they said there was 2 clumps in there. So that's how Breck's does it for their bulbs, tubers. And then let's get in here to Swan Island. So Swan Island, they will come in a nice clear bag. The hot pink paper was actually stapled on the outside. I've opened this one up, so I wanted to see it. And this is Southern Belle, and there are 2 in here. And I believe that's because I ordered 2, not that they automatically sent me 2. So they have, there we go. There is the tuber for that. And it's going to be hard to see on this camera. I'll show it to you. But on each individual tuber, they have the name stamped onto the tuber. So it says in blue ink, Southern Belle. So there we go. And like I said, there was 1, and then there is the other. So we're gonna, first what I'm gonna do is prep everything. And then once I've got my land and sea, my holes, and my biotone down, then I'm gonna come back through and I'm gonna show you exactly how I plant the tubers into the ground. I am flying solo today because the nursery is open and it is a Friday and it is a gorgeous day. So they are hopping over at the nursery. So Brenna and I don't think you can see her. She is rolling in the grass, loving life. So I have my furry companion with me and we are going to get this done. I'm so excited and cannot wait to see these babies come up. All right, so let's get to work. My friends, so Brenna and I got the first row prepped, so we are ready to go ahead, and there went a butterfly. I don't know if that made it on camera. Oh, we have a butterfly. The holes are prepped. Brex gives you a great pamphlet, tells you how to do it, if your dahlias happen to have already sprouted, caring for your bulbs, all of those things. So what we're going to do, okay, this is the mixture, the Joey mixture. I'm gonna do Brex first, and then we'll do the Swan Island. And I am not going to label these. I labeled all of Laura's. So if you see the little stakes, those are Laura's and they are labeled. But with these, and I'm not a collector, right? I do these purely for enjoyment. We're not selling these. I'm not selling the tubers. I just want to have beautiful flowers in my garden. And I do have the spreadsheet that has all the names, all the specifications. So if I see, a dahlia and I'm like, oh, now what was the name of that one? I can obviously really easily go back and look it up and figure it out. So this one, particular one, is a Rocco. It is a pompon. And so when you are planting your dahlias, what you want to do is 4 to 6 inches. You're going to bury them 4 to 6 inches. You're going to lay them horizontally. So this is where the plant's going to come out. These are the tubers all around. So I'm just going to pull back a little bit here, make sure I get my 4 to 6 inches in, nice and down, snuggled in there. The biotone's all in and around, and we come back. If there's a weed, 'tis the season for weeds around here. Oh, we got beautiful earthworms. Pack it down. There we go. There are 2 in a bag of the same ones. So obviously I'm going to put the same 2 dahlias beside each other. So here we go, shake that off, figure out what end is up. Sometimes it's easier to tell than others. There we go, there's the stem. Took me a minute, we got it. So 2 Roccos in the ground, 4 to 6 inches in. We are not going to water these today. My ground is nice and moist, and everything that you read about dahlias says do not water them in the ground. Do not add water to them until you see growth out of them. Then once you see growth, then you can begin watering them. We, of course, like I said, clay soil, it rains all the time in the wintertime. The soil is nice and damp right now, and it's gonna rain tomorrow. So I certainly do not want to go in here and add water. The only time you wanna add water is if your ground is absolutely bone dry, and then you can go in and water them in. So what we're gonna do is just gonna continue moving on down the line, 4 to 6 inches, lay them horizontally, bring back the soil, pack them in, they're done. All of the Brex bulbs are planted, and some of those, not bulbs, excuse me, tubers. I got bulbs on the brain. I'm sitting here right beside my daffodils. All of Brex tubers have been planted, and some of them were massive. It says on the bag I got 2 clumps, but because of just shipping and how things happen, some jostling, some of those tubers had come off of the mother plant, but they still had their eyes and they were still very viable. So I got a little extra on that. So of course I planted them in the next hole. Now we're gonna move on to the Swan Island dahlias. It'll be interesting to see as far as the size compared to the Brex tubers. Right off the bat, I see, like, these are my 2 from Swan Island. In a way, I like, sounds weird, but in a way, I almost like having them smaller because it's easier and faster to plant, and I don't have to worry too much about, you know, like where's the stem, which way is up. Like, you just know which way is up because you have your tuber here. Let's see if it'll focus. Please focus. So you have your tuber right here, and then this is where the foliage is going to come out of. So as long as you have that intact, you are good to go. This will make it a lot easier, faster, just to like plop them and go. So that'll be kind of interesting to see how they all shake down and if they're all that same size. I'm going to take a water break because I told you it was going to be warm, and this is a very hot spot in the garden, which is why the dahlias love this area so much. So we're going to take a little water break. Brenna's got a stick she's chewing on, and then we're going to get the other 2 rows. We've got to get the holes dug and biotoned and get the tubers in. So it's basically going to be the exact same thing, right? Do the holes roughly 12 inches apart. You can go anywhere from a foot to 2 feet apart. We'll do that. And then I think what I'm going to try to do is maybe start with some of the bigger ones in case I don't think I'm going to run out of room, but if I do run out of room, I'm going to keep my little shorter varieties off to the side, so that way if I want to integrate them into other parts of the garden, I can. Just want to make sure I get the tall ones that need to be staked in here. And yeah, so that's what we're going to do. All right, my friends, so we have gotten, I say all the dahlias planted, but not quite all the dahlias because I ran out of room. I have probably 10 tubers left that still need to be planted, and I have got to find a little nook for them somewhere. I just ran out of room, and so that's my problem as far as I don't know where to put them. I am thinking of some different places, but for today, I might be done because it is toasty and need to go get some lunch. Jeans are getting a little hangry over here. And so maybe once I eat lunch and I can like think and process, I might know where to put the other ones. So I am so excited though that they are in the ground. It is March. So it is, what is today? Today is the last Friday. No, it is, anyway, it's March the 24th. So we're getting, you know, so much ahead of when we did it last year. It may even be like 2 months ahead of when I got them in the ground last year. So I am doing fantastic. Now, what do I do with them as up to this point right here? First of all, we're gonna get Brenna to, FedEx is here. Brenna, come. Come. Good, let's talk on the camera. Let's talk to our friends. All right. So what are we going to do at this point? Again, I am not going to water these. It is going to rain. If anything, I have to worry about my dahlias being too wet. So I wait until we get, she doesn't like the FedEx man. Sorry for the distraction, FedEx came. So they're in the ground. I'm not going to water them. We don't begin watering until we start to see sprouts. Once we start to see sprouts, then dahlias need to be watered nice and deeply. So we do have drip irrigation on here. Right now it's more on the Laura's dahlia side. I will move it and have it come so it goes right down the middle. Nice, slow, deep watering a couple of times a week is what they need. One of the big predators for dahlias, the threats, is snails and slugs. Swan Island recommends to go ahead as soon as you plant them, to go ahead and start laying down some snail and slug bait. I have it. I'm not going to do it today because it's going to rain tonight, and then it is kind of wasteful. So I will start to do that once it stops raining, as far as like within the next day or so, and then do that. It's a great organic product. It does not hurt anything else. It's safe to be around animals. It is just for snails and slugs. Because what happens is that as soon as the dahlias start to sprout, then the snails and slugs start chewing on them, and we don't want that, right? So they will come up. We do have to stake them. That is why the dahlias are here in this designated spot. We have the post and then the twine. I was talking with my mom, and she was like, what do you think about doing like panels and use paneling instead of the twine? I'll talk to Jerry about that, going back and forth. If you've grown dahlias and you've used panels, do you like it? Do you like the twine better? Give me some help, all you dahlia experts who have grown them for years. Tell me what you like as far as staking them. But we do have dahlias on both sides of the stakes, and they are anywhere no more than 12 inches together, or up to probably about 18, I would say. So we've got lots of room, full sun, good conditions, and then we just wait. So some dahlias take a long time, and that's all right, because when they start blooming, they are worth their weight for sure. All right, so I'm gonna go in, get some lunch, let my brain think, and then I'll keep you updated on where I end up putting those dahlias, because some of them are so cute. Like it's the Tiny Treasure and Betty Ann and was it Iced Tea? Some really great ones, and I'm gonna have in my garden. I just gotta figure out where I wanna put them. As always, thanks so much for gardening with Creekside. Y'all have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.